Guys, what's up? Why you should, and today, like pretty much any other video in the last week, including the previous why you should, we're gonna talk about the Global Game Jam. If you've had enough, I promise this is the last video, at least for now, talking about the Global Game Jam, until next year's Global Game Jam at least. And what I want to do today is actually take a little bit of a different perspective and focus on only one of those words, and it's a jam. So I went on Wikipedia, which is open right now in front of me, and I went to jam, the value of jam, and there's a disambiguation because there's a lot of things that a jam may mean, such as, you know, jam from like strawberries that you eat, or other things, and I got to the only value that's relevant to us, which is a jam session. So I'm going to read that off, at least the first sentence. A jam session is a musical event, process, or activity where musicians play, jam, by improvising without extensive preparation or predefined arrangements. Jam sessions are often used by musicians to develop new material, music, find suitable arrangements, or simply as a social gathering and communal practice session. So if we change musical to anything, we can basically take a jam as without too much preparation, without knowing exactly how things are going to go down, you come together and you create something. And the Global Game Jam was actually in the disambiguation of jam. You can actually find Global Game Jam, which is kind of funny. What it really means is coming together with other people that share the same mindset, or more correctly, the same skills in the specific discipline, in this case creating games, in the case of a standard jam session it's music, and making stuff, just creating something. And I want to talk about how important that the value of creating something is. In today's world, most people are nothing but consumers. Nothing but consumers. And everybody's consumers. The question is, and when I say consumer, let's just stay on this for a second. When I say consumer, I mean taking in stuff. If you go on Facebook and look at statuses, then you're basically taking in, you're a consumer of crap, I'd say, but it's of statuses. If you write a status, then you do create content. But those are very, very small amounts of content. Those are very bite-sized, bite chunks of content. No doubt, each and every one of us consumes more than he puts out. Right? I mean, I follow a lot of people on Twitter, and I have a lot of friends on Facebook, so I consume more stuff, more statuses in this case, than I put out. But most people, other than, you know, statuses on Facebook, which is very, very minor stuff, you don't actually put out anything. You don't create anything. And this is something so incredibly important. It's not just about giving back to society, but putting something out. Creating something is an incredible experience throughout, and obviously at the end when you have something that you made in your hands. It is an incredible feeling, and it doesn't have to be a jam session of music. It could be a jam session of anything. It could be just writing down something. It doesn't have to be, you know, we're focusing on a jam session, which is just randomly, but it could be anything. It could be just sitting down and writing something and then posting it, and other people might find it interesting. Or it could be anything that your skills allow you to do, whatever they may be. Specifically, the value of jams is coming in and being incredibly free-minded, in the sense that I have no idea what's going to happen. And that's exactly what I came in, and I had a little bit of an idea of who I wanted to work with, which is also wrong, and we'll get to that in a second. But I just came in very open-minded, and I got out so incredibly happy with what with what I managed to help create, okay? With what I managed to put out to the world. And I don't care if nobody plays it. I made it, and a couple of people enjoyed it, and I also learned a ton and evolved in my discipline of creating games and programming, which is awesome. So, specifically, in jams, whatever they may be, or, you know, it doesn't have to be called a jam, it doesn't have to be a jam session of music, it could be just going over to friends and just creating something instead of just consuming content. In that type of, but in this type of very, very big, you know, it's a global game jam, I went to a place with 300 more people, you really need to keep an open mind. One of the worst things you could do is have a plan. or come in with a specific team. That's something that you should never do. And that they say it, a lot of people do it, but you shouldn't. You should come over and try and work with people you've never worked with, try and do things you've never done before. Clearly you come in with some kind of technical ability, and you're supposed to use that technical ability, because, you know, you have a limited amount of time and nobody wants you to start doing something you've never ever touched before, because then you're not going to be useful in that short amount of time frame. But try new things. You can try new things. You know, you have wiggle room in that constrained what you are able to do. And come in with such an open mind. That's the best thing you could do. And try and create something. And the results of those things, you learn so much and you create pretty cool things. So I'm incredibly happy. I have to say this was kind of my first jam session ever, because I don't play an instrument. I mean, I used to sing a little bit. I don't sing in any... I learned voice. Is that how you say it? I studied voice, okay? I had a voice teacher, which helped me develop my voice, but I didn't do it for a long time, and I didn't practice enough because I was at the time in the army. I was never, you know, I never sang and went to jam sessions to just, you know, do stuff. I did very little of those, and they were mostly planned, and mostly we knew exactly what we wanted to do. It wasn't a jam session, really. So this was kind of my first jam in that sense. My first, okay, let's brainstorm and let's find something and let's just do something. And it worked spectacularly. I'm super, super pleased from what came out of there. So that's the why you should. Try and participate in whatever jams you can. Try and be creative and create content. And keep an open mind. Open mind. It's important to create stuff. Okay, that's it. I'm done with the Global Game Jam. That is the last thing that I wanted to say on that subject. So we're done. We're good. We're over. And, you know, next week, new stuff in all the videos that I put out. Yes. Okay, good. We're good. We're lovely. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.